Okay, we're now recording. Um, Great. So starting with going back to basics, what is Great Big Green Week? So Great Big Green Week is the UK's biggest ever celebration of action to tackle climate change and protect nature. But what does it actually look like? Every year, for 9 days in June, people come together to host events and activities in their local area that showcase all the brilliant community projects and work that's happening to help create a safer, fairer, and greener future. We've seen tours of local wind farms, nature restoration afternoons, festivals that celebrate what's happening locally, skill swapping events, and so much more. And events are really hosted by everyone and anyone who cares about their local area, their local community, and also environmental issues. And events are hosted by teachers, by sports clubs, artists, community groups, places of worship, libraries, the list really goes on and on. Ultimately, it's a week of events in communities, organised by communities up and down the UK. And this year, it's our sixth Great Big Green Week, and it will be taking us from the 6th to the 14th of June. And Great Big Green Week this year will show that people are coming together for good every day to help create a better tomorrow. And we urgently need politicians to step up and play their part. And by taking action together at the same time in every corner of the UK, however big or small that action, politicians will be unable to ignore that their constituents care about tackling climate change and protecting and restoring nature. Apologies for my laptop being a little bit slow this evening. Um, so the Great Big Green Week is organised by the Climate Coalition. And for those of you who don't know who we are, we're the largest group of people dedicated to action on climate change. We have over 130 member organisations that work together to shape and run campaigns that showcase the breadth of people that care about climate and nature. And our members range from large NGOs like National Trust and WWF to local community groups like EcoBurko and other organisations. The Climate Coalition and all of our members come together to organise Great Big Green Week, but it's really brought to life by the people like yourselves across the country that are hosting events, that are getting involved with their communities, and engaging people on taking action on climate change and looking after our planet. So, just to give you kind of an overview of what's happened over the last 5 years that we've seen Great Big Green Week taking place, how it started, and how has it grown. The first Great Big Green Week took place in September 2021, and it was the largest event for climate and nature ever seen in the UK. And it came about as part of wider efforts of the Climate Coalition to demonstrate to politicians the support for action on climate and nature and to show that that support really is mainstream and to raise the ambition of the UK ahead of COP26, which took place in Glasgow in November 2021, which was one of the most ambitious climate summits ever. It was a moment to support people locally, all across the UK, to take action for climate and nature, um, and to demonstrate that they are taking this action and really being a voice for what we need to see and want to see in our local areas, but also on a national scale, and create a focal point for local communities to work together and to celebrate that work. Since then, Great Big Green Week really has continued to grow with communities, national organisations, institutions, media outlets, and more coming together in a wave of support to protect the planet. Over the years, we've seen media coverage grow and grow, and involvement from partners across different aspects of society getting involved as well, from organisations like the Co-op, English Heritage, Lidl, BT, Good Gym, the Sustainable Restaurant Association, and many, many more. And you can see a whole host of kind of partner organisations and different institutions and organisations that have got involved in Great Big Green Week on our website. Fast forward to 2025, and an amazing 1.2 million people took part. From Falmouth to Belfast, Jersey to Anglesey, Rugby to Thurso, we saw community action to tackle and protect and tackle climate change and protect and restore nature in towns and cities up and down the UK. So Great Big Green Week is now firmly present in the calendars of communities and businesses, media outlets, charities across the UK. And 1.2 million is a huge number of people, and it's so amazing to see all that action. But just to give you an idea of kind of the scale of that, I know it can be quite hard to picture. So just for a reference, 1.2 million people is about the size of a city the size of Birmingham, 10 Glastonbury festivals, or one in every 58 people in the UK. And events really did happen in every corner of the UK, from town halls to music venues, pop-up gardens to local festivals. And Great Big Green Week is showing that people from all walks of life care about climate, care about nature, about their community, and about creating a greener, fairer future. Together, we're showing that when people come together for good around shared values, like our health, our community, and that shared future, we can make change happen. And it's not just during the week that that change happens or is kind of platformed. It has a long-lasting impact and creates opportunity to engage a whole host of people beyond the week. So just to give you an idea of kind of some of the impact that Great Big Green Week has, not just for you getting involved during the week, but that longer term kind of impact and what it means to communities to get involved. So these are some of the things we've captured through evaluations over the years and conversations with the groups and communities that take part. Every year, thousands of people decide to celebrate their community and the changes that are already happening or the work that is going on locally. And one big thing to highlight is that you don't have to have done anything like this before to get involved in Great Big Green Week. 18% of people that we spoke to through our evaluation last year had never organised an event before, and 34% of people who attended Great Big Green Week events had never been to kind of a climate or nature related event before. So it's really opening that opportunity for new engagement and new involvement. And if you haven't been involved before, we are with you every step of the way if you want to join the growing movement of Great Big Green Week and celebrating local action. And I'll come on to that more later. Also, you don't have to be a group that solely focuses on climate and nature or focus on it at all, really. Great Big Green Week is an opportunity to start doing that or to do more, to bring in more environmental aspects to issues or things that you already care about or already working on. And 69% of the groups, again, that we spoke to that got involved in Great Big Green Week last year wouldn't consider themselves as kind of a green organisation first. So it's an opportunity to get involved in something new and to link climate and nature issues to other issues that you care about and people care about in your local area. And lastly, Great Big Green Week really creates an opportunity for strengthening that local action. And as I've mentioned, kind of not just a moment to host these one-off events, but to create that kind of longer lasting impact. So one group in Cumbria shared this quote. Our party in the park helped spark interest in regular nature-based activities for young people. It strengthened local partnerships, involved young volunteers in event delivery, and created momentum for more outdoor sessions around gardening, movement, and environmental education. And another organiser that was involved in Swansea's Green Week said that the events were strengthened by being part of Great Big Green Week. It really gave focus on Swansea Green groups and their regular activities which relate to the larger, greener picture. Crafts and skills continue to pull in a wider group of people and often provide hope and inspiration for the future, which is much needed right now. So you can see that Great Big Green Week really works to platform the work that's already happening where you are, creates new opportunities for community action, and strengthens connections, partnerships, and local activity beyond the week. And we hope that even more people will continue to get involved year on year, including yourselves if you haven't been involved before. So with all this being said, you might be wondering what Great Big Green Week could look like in your local area. So I'm going to talk through a couple of ways that uh, a couple of examples, sorry, of what Great Big Green Week might look and feel like in your community. And after this, you'll have an opportunity to think about how you might like to get involved and a chance to share your thoughts and ideas. So as I'm running through this list, kind of be thinking in the back of your mind, I could do that, or if it sparks some ideas, just keep a note of that because we'll be coming back to it and we want to hear from you. So first of all, Great Big Green Week could look like a whole program of activities in your local area. People, community groups, businesses, and more come together to host lots of different events and activities under the banner of a local Green Week. So just an example, Circular Dorking are a network of businesses, community groups, and individuals who are working together as volunteers to strengthen the Dorking community by creating a local circular economy. And they've been involved for a few years now. And previously, they've organised Dorking's Big Swap, Switch and Share, where over 15 local groups and organisations were involved in collaboratively organising their local Green Week and working together to highlight different community actions. So the week saw a range of different things happening, including things like a sustainable trail across Dorking Town Centre involving different businesses and local organisations, a big green climate cafe to create a space for conversations and chats about climate change, a street swap where residents could swap items they no longer needed with one another, and a picnic and poetry event where the community could spend the afternoon sharing food, listening to poetry about nature, the planet, and well-being. So this is just one example of what a local Green Week could look like. And we've got a lot more examples of local groups talking about what they've done for Great Big Green Week on our website, on our community stories page. So I'll share a link to that in the follow-up email. But if you do want some more inspiration or to hear from the groups themselves that have organised something, we've got a couple of examples on our website. It could also look like showcasing existing community initiatives. As I've mentioned, these activities and events don't have to be related to new projects or something that you're starting from scratch. They can tie into what's already happening locally. So just a couple of examples. In Alton, there's a monthly toy library where children, parents, and families can borrow toys for free. And during Great Big Green Week, they partnered with their local eco church to include a craft swap, children's face painting, and food by a local group called the Sustainabites. Love that name, by the way. But it just goes to show that you can build out already existing activities by partnering with potentially someone else in your local area that's working on kind of sustainable initiatives. The organisation Sustainably Muslim hosted an event to showcase and get more people involved in their year-round programme of activities by hosting a nature and bird identification walk at Walthamstow Wetlands. And Dalmeny and Queensferry Parish Church operate a cafe 5 days a week, open to all, and they use it as a hub for community initiatives, and they used it during Great Big Green Week. They found that running events like Great Big Green Week events in an existing community hub, like the cafe, helped them to partner with new organisations like Fairtrade and Home Energy Scotland because it was a relaxed environment. People already knew it, they were familiar with it, and they're already engaging local residents on things that might not necessarily be related to climate and nature, but they partnered with new organisations to kind of bring that focus in. It could also look like one day of celebration. So you don't need to do things throughout the week. We encourage as much activity as possible, but we know there can be limitations to what you can do. And a whole day of celebration is just as powerful as a whole week of events. So we see lots of things like market days and festivals being hosted across the UK. As an example, we see Camborne's Green Fest being hosted as part of Great Big Green Week for a number of years now. And this is kind of a one-day event that brings together stalls hosted by different organisations like Camborne Library, Cornwall Wildlife Trust, Fairtrade, Sustrands, and lots more. But it also brings together kind of musical performances, they serve food, and it's something that can bring the whole community together whilst doing good for climate and nature, but also connecting and celebrating the work that's already happening. Just a few other ways to think about what Great Big Green Week can look like and to showcase that it doesn't just have to be local community groups organising things and it doesn't have to be you organising them. If you want to get your local area involved in Great Big Green Week, but you might not have the capacity to take part, there's different avenues to build up Great Big Green Week activity as well. So engaging local organisations. We see churches hosting nature counts in their garden. We see local authorities hosting their own market days. Also, local authorities kind of working with local groups and organisations to support them being involved. We see high street shops like the Salvation Army and the co-op stores getting involved. Libraries hosting their own talks and other events. We've even seen GP surgeries taking part. So any and all local organisations or institutions that are really at the heart of the community. If there are any of those that are coming to mind, your role could be to invite them to be involved and to kind of give them ideas of how they can take part. It can also look like schools coming together for good. So schools and youth groups are a really central part of Great Big Green Week, and we see a whole host of ways that schools get involved. So, for example, we've seen whole school assemblies to discuss climate change. We've seen lessons that incorporate environmental focuses. We've seen eco committees being led by the students. And the students stepping up to plan events with the wider community during the week, from upcycling clothes workshops to creating spaces for wildlife in their school. And speaking of examples, we're just about to kind of publish a video case study of Woodford County High School for Girls, sharing the ways that their eco committee and their students have organised events and brought in their wider community to be part of the Green Week that they've hosted through their school. So I'll be sure to share that in the follow-up email as well. And we also have a ton of resources for teachers and schools to help you get involved or that you might want to share with your local schools to help them take part. Lastly, Great Big Green Week can also look like communities connecting, just having conversations about climate and environment during the week, learning about what's happening locally and what else people can work together on. So we see stories popping up in local media and in online communities, and the impact that that has for those people and those communities taking part. So it could be that you get involved on social media, or you write to your local newspaper, or you encourage the local radio station to talk about the events that are happening locally. And Great Big Green Week does look different across the country because it really focuses on what's at the heart of your community. So, what people care about, what the issues are, what great work is already happening, or that you want to see more of in your local area. So, aware I shared a lot of examples there and a lot of different ways that or a lot of examples of what Great Big Green Week might look like. And just to say, we are going to share these slides and the recording afterwards. So you'll have all those as a bank to get you started. But just to give an overview of what that might mean for you and how you can get involved. So firstly, you might be thinking now about organising something local. But remember, you don't need to have done this before. We've got training and resources and support to help you every step of the way. And I'm going to come on to some more of those specific training and resources at the end of this session. You don't need to do it alone. Work with others in your local area. people you know to work together. So start having conversations with friends, with family, with people you work with people at your local community hubs or local businesses. You don't need to start from scratch. Um, there might be things that you're already doing that you can highlight during Great Big Green Week, or you might already be part of a local group or a sports club or a place of worship that you could spark those conversations and get involved and do something that you haven't done before, or highlight the activities that you're already working on. And lastly, again, I've mentioned this, but it doesn't just need to be you. Your role could be to encourage other people or organizations who can do something to get involved. Secondly, you can join an event. It doesn't just have to be about organizing, it can be about supporting the people that are hosting local activities, and you want to go along and support that work and amplify that work. So we'll have a map on our Great Big Green Week website of the different events and activities that are taking place. So you can find out what's happening near you, and go along to support that local action. You can also help to spread the word, put up a poster, post on your local Facebook group if you see that something's happening. Bring a friend along, invite your local councillor or your MP to go along to the event as well, and really, support that local action. Also sharing your story about why you're getting involved in Great Big Green Week, or sharing the story of your local community, sharing it online or with local media, or even physically in kind of local community hubs or in your local workplaces, newsletter, however you can get the word out there about what's happening. The more people that hear about it and the more people that get involved, the bigger the impact. And lastly, we just encourage you to stay connected. We have newsletters that you can sign up to, and also encourage you to continue to keep an eye on the Great Big Green Week website, because there's going to be more ways that you can get involved, whether that's online or more actions that you can take as part of the week. So we'll be sharing more information on that as we get closer to Great Big Green Week. What I'm going to do now is move us on to show some of the additional kind of support and resources that we can provide to help you get involved, if you haven't already. So I'm just going to share my screen again. Hopefully you can see that. So we've gone through kind of different ways that you can take part, and you've shared your thoughts and ideas, which has been really lovely to hear. So just kind of some next steps about, if you are new to Great Big Green Week, how might you get the ball rolling on bringing your events to life, or talking to people locally. So first, and we've already started that this evening, kind of deciding what you want to do or thinking about what you want to do. As I've mentioned, we have a community stories page on our website, which provides some really great examples and stories from groups who have been involved for the first time or have been involved for a number of years in Great Big Green Week, and just hearing their experiences and ideas can be really useful. So please do make use of that resource. We've also got an A to Z events guide on our website if you need any more inspiration or ideas, or examples of organizations that you can reach out to. That's a really great place to kind of start ideas flowing. And then a big part of this is also thinking about who you can do it with, but also who you can talk to in your local community, to kind of think about what they might want to do, ask questions around kind of what more do you want to see in our local area, and kind of help those conversations can help you think about what you might want to bring to life locally through Great Big Green Week. So, talking to friends, to family, to neighbours, your local community where you might show up every day, and where you might not necessarily have conversations about kind of climate and nature, but how you can spark new conversations about that. So we are actually having a training session on the 19th of March around kind of how you can connect to people in your local area, how you can maybe bring new people on board, how you begin to kind of map your community and think about the spaces that might already be active, but also some of those spaces where that might be new to climate action, and you might want to kind of widen it out a little bit. We've got one of those sessions on the 19th of March, but if you're unable to make that one, we are going to be running another session in April. So don't worry too much if you can't make this one, because we are going to have another opportunity to join. We've also got a training session around how to organise a local event. So we've talked about the kinds of events that you can organise, but we're doing another session again at the very start of April. I'll share the specific dates in the follow-up email. But yeah, all about the specifics of what you might want to think about when you're organising an event. And I saw a question about insurance in the chat. So that is covered in that training, but it's also covered in our written organisers guide. So we've got a guide that's live on our website, and it takes you through kind of step by step what you might need to think about when you're organizing an event, but also if you want to kind of coordinate a whole program of local activity in your local area. Because there are kind of two aspects to that local activity. And if you are wanting to see kind of a whole program of events in your local area, there's kind of two ways you can approach it, either kind of being that event organizer or thinking about how you can kind of help pull together that program of events. So that organizer's guide and that training on how to organize activity locally will really help you kind of get to like the nuts and bolts of what you want to do. And I guess I've covered a lot of what I've just said in kind of accessing training and resources to help you. And we've got other guides and sessions on kind of how you can get the attention of your local media and how you can work with your local media to kind of promote what's happening, how you can promote your events. We're going to be having a session closer to Great Big Green Week on how you can really capture the stories and measure the impact of what's happening locally. Because post Great Big Green Week, it's really great to kind of celebrate what's happened, but also to have that information for maybe if you want to kind of get funding for Great Big Green Week next year, it's really great to kind of have captured those stories and that impact of what you've done. So you can, yeah, shout about it and celebrate and get more people involved next year. And we really encourage you to kind of connect with others and use the spaces that are available to do that. So we have a Facebook group where you can share ideas and challenges and learnings, and just use it as a space to chat about all things Great Big Green Week, and what you're doing and wanting to connect with other people in your area, or just see kind of if someone else is running a similar event to you and you're stuck on something, that is the place to post about it and see if you can get any support. We also have a number of networking sessions in the lead up to Great Big Green Week. So they are open spaces to ask questions, meet people, and others getting involved, again, to share kind of ideas, challenges, and learn from each other. I think that is all from me for now. We've got about 5 minutes for questions, and then what I'm going to do is share a wrap-up poll. So if you are able to stay on till the end, it would be great to get your kind of thoughts on what was useful in this session, what could be included next time to help people who are new to Great Big Green Week kind of think about what it is, and yeah, any information that would have been useful to include, and also how you're feeling at the end of this session. If you weren't too sure about what Great Big Green Week is, has this session helped you to kind of form a better picture of it and yeah, help you get to grips with it a bit more. But before we do that, we do have a space now for a couple of questions. I'm just going to go back to the chat to cover the ones that have already come up. So yes, we will be sharing the slides after, so no worries about that. There is a question here around insurance. So you will have to source your own insurance for your Great Big Green Week events. But this year, we are partnering with a specific insurance company that can be helpful in kind of giving you the insurance you need or pointing you in the right direction. I can't remember the name of them now, but it is mentioned in the organizer's guide. And what I'll do is I'll pull out that specific organization, and I'll link to them in the follow-up email. So you'll have that link and that resource readily available. Um, in terms of finding out who else is planning an event in your area, I would encourage you to take to local Facebook groups, local online forums, posting about what you're thinking, if anyone else is working on kind of environmental issues or climate issues, just putting the question out there. I'd also encourage also if you can, posting up kind of flyers in physical local community spaces with a contact number or email if you can share those details publicly to kind of open up that conversation. And the training that we're doing next week, the outreach training or connecting with people in your community, I think that'll be a really good one to come to think about how you can connect with others who might be planning something or wanting to find out if people are doing something locally. I'd also recommend keeping an eye on the Great Big Green Week website on our map. It's not live yet, but in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be going live to allow people to kind of start adding their events. And this is a really great place to go to see if people are already submitting events and if things are already happening, and maybe starting a conversation with them about if you can partner on some things or if you can come together under a local Green Week, and then working together to maybe reach out to even more people in your local area. I've seen a question on the theme. We do have a theme for this year. It links to what we did last year, but it's a bit more broad. So the theme is Together for Good. And we're focusing on that as kind of an overarching narrative and bringing together messaging and action under this idea that it doesn't matter what we're working on, what issue we care about locally, what the action is, we're all coming together for good, for climate, for people, for nature. And we're going to be centrally weaving that kind of messaging throughout our communications. Our members will be using it, and we really encourage yourselves, people getting involved in Great Big Green Week, to use that messaging as well, so that it's picked up in the media, and we can really come together not only under the banner of Great Big Green Week, but this idea that people are working on different things, and Great Big Green Week looks different in communities, but we're all coming together for good to make a difference.